Hello, everyone. The Backupmonster Show. The subject today is the life after VMware. My name is Paweł Mączka. I'm CTO at VP at Store, and my guest today is Simon Coter. Hello, Simon.
Hey, hi Paweł. Good morning. Good morning to
Pleasure
everyone.
to see you. Not the first time. We normally used to see each other on the Open Virtualization Pro or the other activities. So I'm really glad to see you here. And I believe it's a proper time to have this kind of the discussion because we, in most cases, discussion about the virtualization. And if everybody knows and hears what's going on the market, there is lots of buzz, lots of rumors, and lots of disappointment regarding the Broadcom acquisition and the way how the VMware treats their own partners and the customers. So I think, and I believe we will have a really fruitful discussions here. But first of all, Simon, if you could tell a few words about yourself and your role inside the Oracle, because I believe not everybody recognize you. So please feel free.
Yeah. Thank you, Paweł. Yeah, and first of all, it's a pleasure to be here with you, right? So thanks for the opportunity. So my name is Simon Coter. I joined Oracle was in January 2004, so was around 20 years ago. And I was so young, right? Just to say. I joined the company as a technical consultant, and I've been a technical consultant for 11 years. At that time, I managed customers here in EMEA as part of the consulting team. Then after 11 years, I had the opportunity to join the product management team for Linux and virtualization. I started as the responsible for VirtualBox in the virtualization side, and today I'm responsible for the product management of Oracle Linux, Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, VirtualBox, as well as also Oracle Cloud Native Environment, that is the Kubernetes distribution part of Oracle Linux. Right?
So it's 20 years, so it's been a while, but it's a really good numbers, because actually when we will come back from what's going on in the last 20 years from the virtualization perspective, you will have a really good feeling how the world changed. Because let's come back to the 2004 for the few moments. So we had first version of the VMware ESXi, and there was lots of excitement related to how to go from the typical legacy physical machine world into the virtualization. So it started the hype of the virtualization. How you saw how you saw this trend 20 years ago, and what actually changed in your mindset?
I remember these. I remember around 20 years ago, right? I was mainly working on the Oracle database, and I was used to run, I think was called maybe VMware Player at that time for the desktop, as well as VirtualBox, right? And I was using those solutions just to get Oracle database environment running on my own laptop, right? That one was the target. I remember using both of them. I remember some issues with both of them, right? But I remember that. I also remember that maybe at that time in data centers, there weren't so many, let's say, systems or services running on top of virtualization. While if you look at today, I think that maybe quite all of them, if not the majority of them, is running on virtualized environment. We know, and if you look at today at the cloud, right, and all the cloud vendors, all of them are today relying on an hypervisor to sell their shapes, their managed instances for their customers, right? So there's been a very long journey for the virtualization, an important growth of the solutions. VMware, that had been always the market leader, also because they, to be honest with you, they built a great solution from the beginning, right?
And how you see this change, because you started with the Oracle VirtualBox, so it's still most dedicated for the personal use or really small environments. Then the Oracle started to have a journey with OVM, so Oracle VM, which was based on the Zen engine. Then was a movement and switch into the all VM. So could you just remind this story behind this journey?
Yeah, for sure. It will be a pleasure also, because I think it's important to understand what Oracle did in the virtualization area, and also the reasons behind those decisions, right? So VirtualBox is part of the Sun acquisition that Oracle did, right, many years ago. So VirtualBox is a desktop virtualization solution built by a company called Innotech many years ago. And again, many years ago, this company had been acquired by Sun. And as you know, after that, Oracle acquired the Sun, and so VirtualBox joined Oracle. The curious point is that into VirtualBox, we propose VirtualBox as a desktop virtualization, mostly for developers, mostly for system administrators that would like to possibly emulate a production environment on their own device. But it's important to know that there's a moment in the history where we invested on VirtualBox as a possible server virtualization solution. So this is why there are some, maybe a bit hidden features there on VirtualBox. So for example, like the opportunity to live migrate a VM from one system to another one is there on VirtualBox. So the code is there. But that said, immediately after, decision around the server side hypervisor changed it. And this is why we have seen, I think, Oracle VM announced it for the first time in 2008, right? And at that time, as you said, Oracle VM server was based on Zen hypervisor. Was based on Zen hypervisor because at that time, Zen was maybe the best open source hypervisor, right? Another thing that Oracle did, Oracle also acquired another company that was called VirtualIron. And VirtualIron was a solution giving you access to a great web UI to possibly manage Zen hypervisor, storage, networking, and so all of your VMs running on this kind of hypervisor. We decided to invest first on Zen hypervisor, and Zen hypervisor had been also the one that we decided to leverage for the Oracle Cloud Generation 1, or we were used to call it Oracle Public Cloud at that time. Generation 1 of the cloud services Oracle built were based on Zen hypervisor. And as you maybe remember, the same kind of thing is also valid for other cloud vendors. I'm quite sure that the first cloud services AWS, for example, was selling were based on Zen hypervisor, right? Mm-hmm. So this is what happened. At that time, we introduced Oracle VM for our on-prem customers based on Zen hypervisor, and we started to leverage the Zen hypervisor as a cloud vendor, right? So to build on top our cloud services. And this is what happened. And as you maybe know, Oracle VM had been also the hypervisor there on some Oracle engineered systems. So if you look at the first releases of Oracle Exadata for the Oracle database, if you look at the Oracle database appliance, all of those engineered systems, even Oracle Exalogic, all of those engineered systems also gave the opportunity to run VMs on top, and the VMs were running on the same Zen hypervisor, so on the same Oracle VM server.
But lately, you made the decision lately, which means few years ago. It's time is running so fast that you switch the technology and goes into from the Oracle VM into the Oracle Virtualization Manager, which actually is based on the Ovid project, and you change the hypervisor from the Zen into the KVM. So I mean, here, interesting why you made this decision, and how this project is right now. Where actually the OLVM is today.
Yeah, so there are on the solution. If you look at the solution today, OLVM, you have the management side of the solution, so Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, and the compute side, so Oracle Linux KVM Hypervisor. The two have different reasons and different story. So if we look at the KVM hypervisor, right? So the move from Zen to KVM as the hypervisor, the reason is quite easy. At one point, we decided that the new generation of cloud services has to be built on the KVM hypervisor, right? We have many developers working on the upstream Linux kernel. We have many developers working also on QEMU, libvirt, and so the KVM hypervisor. And at that point, we decided that the new generation of cloud services has to be built on KVM hypervisor.
Mm-hmm.
So this one was an important decision taken by the company. And in fact, today, if you look at the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, so the also known as Oracle Cloud Gen 2 is based on the same Oracle Linux KVM hypervisor that we propose to our on-prem customers. And this is related to the compute side of the solution. If you look at the management side, from the management point of view, we were used to have Oracle VM Manager on Zen hypervisor. And at that time, we had to decide if it was going to be better to continue to invest on Oracle VM Manager as the management solution, able also to manage KVM hypervisor, or decide to leverage and contribute to an open source project. One issue that we faced with our own solution, Oracle VM Manager. So the important thing to know is that Oracle VM Manager, the code of Oracle VM Manager was public available and was free of charge. So everyone can run Oracle VM Manager without paying anything or without any kind of subscription with Oracle. But the point is that we were the only one working on this solution. We were the only one investing on this solution. And while talking with partners, and when I say partners, I mean ISV, for example, and while looking for possible backup integration, looking for possible disaster recovery integration, at that time, those partners were mainly working with VMware, obviously, as well as other other minor solutions. And we had seen some of them joining us, like you, for example, with Storeware backup solution. And we have seen others that started to ask, okay, how many customers are looking for this? And we shared the customer list. Yeah, but now we have another priority. And our customers were really upset because they were running Oracle VM Manager and Oracle VM Server and didn't have the option, let's say, to take the backup of their VMs as they want, or let's say to receive the possible enhancement they were looking for coming from this backup vendor or this disaster recovery vendor. So we faced this kind of issue with Oracle VM Manager. And so while looking at the KVM hypervisor, while looking at the possible management solution for KVM hypervisor, we decided to work, collaborate, and leverage the Overt open source project. Because at that time, we saw that many other companies or many other ISV already started to work on it, right? And was good for us because they already built, let's say, their solution for Overt, and the same solution can easily run with Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager without doing anything, really, right? Just because we do not fork, we didn't decide, obviously, we did decide to not fork Overt and the only thing that we do today on OLVM is really to do maybe some backports coming from updated releases of the community into our own release, based on possible bugs that customer faced, based on whatever we think could be important to have there. But the API exposed are going to be the same 100%. There's no difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why we decided to come out with KVM hypervisor, and the reason was we are also a cloud vendor, right? And another management solution for the KVM hypervisor, starting from an open source project that, as you know, is over, right? So this is the history.
But it's one important part, because so you not only, let's say, usage of the OLVM is on a customer side, but you also mentioned that you're using it in your own cloud. So you also validated and still,
not really. Not really. This is the point.
Mm-hmm.
Today within Oracle, there's one unique Oracle Linux KVM hypervisor, right? And this KVM hypervisor is what our customers can run on premises, is what we leverage to run Oracle Cloud, is what you can get, for example, on Oracle Exadata, and is the same KVM hypervisor you can also get on other Oracle engineered systems, right? So there's one unique KVM hypervisor, Oracle Linux KVM, leveraged by cloud as a cloud vendor, by Oracle engineered systems, and available for our on-prem customers, right? And we all work together on this KVM hypervisor on the compute side. On the management side, as soon as you get there on the Oracle Cloud interface, right, you can see that there's a completely different management platform, right? And this is expected. You cannot think to supply cloud services by leveraging Overt or by leveraging Oracle Virtualization Manager. So what really changes between all of those adoption of the Oracle Linux KVM hypervisor is the management side. On the management side, on the Oracle Cloud, you have the Oracle Cloud web interface to manage KVM, and it's completely transparent, right? You are just going to create VMs, networking, and whatever, and behind the scene, you have Oracle Linux KVM. There's Oracle Exadata or other Oracle engineered systems. They have their own management interface, but it's not Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, but there's a reason. On those Oracle engineered systems, you do not need to daily manage snapshots or create VMs, right? And Oracle Exadata is a quite static environment where to create virtualized Oracle database services. So as soon as the Oracle Exadata is there in the customer data center, they're going to create their own database services, and that's all, right? You have Oracle Verification Cluster running there, and once the VM are started, VMs are going to leverage quite all the resources available on those systems, and that's all. So again, Exadata has its own management interface for, let's say, commodity hardware, generic virtualization. We have Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager as the management platform for Oracle Linux KVM.
And what do you think? Because it's still, because everybody knows that the VMware, even after this 20 years, is dominating the market. You think this dominance is undeniable today? What would happened in the last few months from the numbers of the inquiries or the switch from the different users? Because we hear that they want to focus only on the Fortune 500 or even less, and the rest of the market they will see what's going on. So people right now are looking for some alternative scenarios from the VMware, and I personally believe that OLVM is the one of those alternatives. How you see it?
So it's I can also bring my history in this. So first of all, when we announced the first release of Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, we had so many happy customers, so many happy people, related to the solution that we decided to leverage to manage KVM hypervisor. And during those years, we had many customers that migrated from Oracle VM, so Zen hypervisor, to Oracle Linux KVM with Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. We also had some customers that in those years decided to migrate from VMware to OLVM and KVM hypervisor. Quite all of them decided to approach this kind of thing because they were running maybe, let's say, two different solutions, right? They were running OLVM for Oracle products and they were running VMware for everything else. Yeah, after a couple of years, let's say that they were running OLVM, they had the opportunity to see how much OLVM was reliable and stable. And at that point, they decided to also migrate other workload into the same OLVM. But to be honest with you, we didn't see thousands of customers that did this kind of migration. So from VMware to OLVM, for maybe two main reasons. The first one is obviously the migration as a cost, right? The fact that you want or you are going to move from VMware to another hypervisor, and does not matter which one is the other hypervisor, is going to introduce a cost related to the migration itself, is going to possibly introduce a cost related to the fact that maybe you need to know another hypervisor, you need to get your people trained on the other solution, right? Maybe your people working on VMware for 15 years, 20 years, whatever. And while moving to another hypervisor, you also have to get those people trained on the other hypervisor you are going to migrate to. From the end of last year, from the end of 2023. And last but not least, VMware is a stable solution, right? It's today market leader in virtualization, and that's the reason they have a cool product, right? We cannot say that VMware is not stable, VMware is not reliable. VMware is a good solution. No one can say different than this. And so the situation was, thousands of customers leveraging OLVM and Oracle Linux KVM, just few of them approaching the migration from VMware. Starting from, let's say, January, this kind of thing really changed and changed it just because there are so many customers upset with what they are receiving, right? As the, let's say, new proposals, new bids from Broadcom, and those upset customers obviously are looking for an alternative solution. For us, I think that it's a daily topic, right? If not hourly topic, the migration from VMware. So there are so many companies evaluating OLVM, so many companies that already started their migration to Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. Obviously, it's something that can take time. Because those customers maybe they never saw OLVM or Oracle Linux KVM working, so they want to run a POC, they want to test this and that. They also want to check if they can leverage the same backup solution, if they can leverage the same disaster recovery solution, they can join their ticketing system with this solution, and so on and so on. But the good point is that
it's a long process. So if everybody thinks that everything will happen this year, it's not true, because they needed time, and they still have some maintenance. So let's say they maybe purchase the license for the longer time. So what I noticed is that these plans, even if they move, it goes like plus 6, 12, 18 months from now. So we need to be a little bit more patient. But they started to, the decision was made, but right now they need to confirm the direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be a journey, right? It's not I'm going to switch from VMware to OLVM or KVM and we'll get it done in 2 weeks or 1 week, right? It's going to be a journey. And to add more on this, we have also seen customers that decided to work by silos, right? So they started to migrate a particular service, they started to migrate a part of their data center from VMware to OLVM to then move to the rest. There are customers that just started to the list of VMs, right? and executing migration every day or as soon as they can. Yeah, but it's going to be a journey. It's not just a project that can be completed in 1 month, or let's say in a reduced amount of time. Obviously, an important thing is the number of systems, right, and the number of services that have to be migrated. Yeah, you
And
can easily see.
Here but here this is a good place, Simon, for place this question. So when you're comparing the feature set or you existing customers, what do you think? How many of the features there will be lack after moving to the other hypervisors such as Oracle Linux virtualization managers? Because we know that VMware proposed that hundreds of the different feature sets, but in a typical daily basis scenario, most of them they wasn't used. So what do you think? How big percentage of the base functionalities that is necessary to run daily basis virtualization workloads is today in the OLVM?
Yeah, so if we just talk about vSphere and vCenter, I think that OLVM and Oracle Linux KVM and so over, right? Because it's also correct to recognize that behind there's the over community, can cover, in my opinion, at least 95% of the features. But the important thing to know is that OLVM and OLKVM are able to cover 100% of the features that customers are going to really use, right? So this is the important thing, because as you said, there are maybe some corner cases or corner features that you never used and are only there on VMware. Yeah, but those are not really interesting for customers. And to be honest with you, while talking with those customers looking to OLVM as the alternative solution, we never had an issue related to a possible feature that they are today leveraging on VMware that is not there on OLVM and OLKVM. So everything really required to run a production workload, possibly snapshot, possibly backup, to possibly migrate storage and VMs and so on. All of those features are there on OLVM. Yeah, and we didn't see this kind of problem while talking with VMware customers. If we look at vSphere and vCenter, that said, VMware is not only vSphere and vCenter.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
There are so many products there, and obviously, while talking with the VMware vSphere customer, it can easily happen that they also run something different from VMware than vSphere and vCenter. Yeah, and on that part, it's going to be another journey. But the interesting point is that we have an answer for quite all of the requirements that could come up from a VMware customer. If you look at the automation platform, I think that the solution was also known as vRealize, maybe from VMware, but there's a new name now, maybe Area. We also have an automation platform as part of Oracle Linux, because the important thing to know is that there's one unique bundle called Oracle Linux Premier Support, and with that one you're going to get access to support for virtualization, automation, Kubernetes, Oracle Linux. Everything is going to get there. And the curious point is that we have also answers related to these kind of requirements, right? So the requirement of having an automation platform, the requirement of having access to Kubernetes distribution. So there's the answer on each of those requirements. Yeah, but yeah, when you talk with VMware customer, it's not just vSphere. But getting back on features, I didn't see the problem there, also based on the feedback that we received until today.
I put one of a friends just asked me 30 minutes before the session, asked this question to Simon about the Oracle Linux 9 version running under the scene on as a hypervisor engine. Could you share with us when it will be available, or is there other plans? Because he said that this is crucial for them to have the Oracle Linux version 9 working, not only the 8 version.
Yeah, so I think that we will have the opportunity to talk offline because I'm curious to understand why it's crucial. Because let me explain the reason why today OLVM is still Oracle Linux 8. If you look at Oracle Linux releases, obviously we have Oracle Linux 7. Oracle Linux 7 is going to be end of premier support in December this year, and then we will have extended support. If you look at Oracle Linux 8, Oracle Linux 8 is going to be covered by premier support until August 2029, plus other 3 years of extended support that is going to take you to August 2032, so 8 years from now. Oracle Linux 9 is going to be end of premier support, maybe in the summer of 2029, sorry, in the summer of 2032. And then you have other 3 years that is going to take you to 2035. So the only advantage today of introducing OLVM on OL9 is the support from 2032 to 2035. Because if you compare Oracle Linux 8 and Oracle Linux 9, you today have the same kernel, right? So the same updated kernel, because it's a 5.15 kernel, or we call it UEK7. And you have the same KVM hypervisor, so the same libvirt and QEMU releases available on both Oracle Linux 8 and Oracle Linux 9. I know that this is not, let's say, a standard for enterprise Linux distributions or a compatible enterprise Linux distribution, but this is what is there in Oracle Linux. So same kernel, same libvirt release, same QEMU release, at the end, same KVM hypervisor. So there's no difference between 8 and 9 while running KVM. Now, if we introduce, let's say, let's suppose one thing, we introduce OL9 support today on OLVM and Oracle Linux KVM, right? All of our customers will have to migrate, right? Migrating from Oracle Linux 8 to Oracle Linux 9 means a huge amount of work. Huge amount of work because we know you can live migrate VMs from one server to another one, but at the same time, you will have to work on each of your KVM servers to move from Oracle Linux 8 to Oracle Linux 9. And we support the upgrade, right? That one is not, technically it's not a problem, the upgrade. It's just the amount of time required to introduce Oracle Linux 9. And once you completed the upgrade, which one is going to be the advantage? None. No advantage, right? No change. You're going to get the same kernel, the same KVM hypervisor, the same libvirt, the same QEMU releases. No difference. And the only difference is the one that you're going to get 3 years more of support because we're going to move from 2032 to 2035. Right.
Okay, so the short answer is that from the technically, we're supposed to be worried about why we're using the 8, against the 9. The only changes maybe will be some standards or regulation internally. That was one of the biggest insurance company in Poland, so they asked me to make it happen. So maybe based on the standards, they would like to have the latest one.
Yeah, no, I know that, but we have also to think to our existing customers, right? We just got them migrating from OL7 to OL8,
okay.
Right? And now, if we decide to move to OL9 today, they will say, "Hey guys, hey Oracle, we can do an upgrade every year or every 2 years." With the final result that we are not going to introduce any kind of advantage to our customers, right? If we look at this question in a different way, right? So talk about the future, because maybe there's the doubt that at one point we can move away from KVM, for example. We can move away from OLVM and decide to close everything. It's very hard to see this kind of thing happening, because again, there's a cloud vendor, right, relying on this KVM hypervisor today, and cannot be compared with the past, cannot be compared with what we have done when we decided to migrate from Zen to KVM hypervisor, because at that time we didn't have so many regions as a cloud vendor distributed worldwide running the KVM hypervisor or running the Zen hypervisor, right? So changing the hypervisor, changing the solution does not have any kind of sense for us. We have a great expertise on the KVM hypervisor as well as on the kernel, and we are not going to move away from there. The related to OL9, yeah, the only point is that one, right? The fact that if we do this kind of thing today, we are not going to give any kind of advantage to our customers. Zero advantage. If we do this kind of thing, for example, maybe in 2-3 years from now, yeah, maybe at that point you will see an advantage because on OL9 you will have a newer kernel or a newer KVM hypervisor, and at that point could have a sense, right? Because the newer KVM hypervisor is going to be faster than the previous one. I don't know. This one could be an important reason, for example. But today there's no real reason that justify another upgrade for our existing customers to move from 8 to 9, and this is the only reason, right? And this is also why I said I'm curious to talk, right, with your friend, because I want to understand if they look or they see any sort of limitation on leveraging 8 today compared to 9, right?
And I'm interested in here, Simon, how you see, because we can go from the virtualization into the virtualization, but the other statement could be, let's go into something else. You mentioned cloud native infrastructure or cloud native, let's say, offering from so based on a Kubernetes. We also have an open source project called KubeVirt, so we can do the nested virtualization or place virtualization on the libvirt inside the container. So a little bit different way how, for example, Red Hat folks go into this direction. How you see how the market will align to these changes? If do we stay at the virtualization layer, or in the next few years we'll see more and more different setups? I'm curious how you see this perspective, and what will be the decision from the Oracle, and how Oracle would like to apply to these changes.
Yeah, so the important point to know is that today with Oracle Cloud Native environment, so the Kubernetes distribution there with Oracle Linux, we already have KubeVirt there, right? It's there. But at the same time, we think that today the proper answer and the full feature set, reliable and stable solution for customers looking for a VMware alternative is OLVM. We see KubeVirt Manager as part of Kubernetes as an option when, let's say, you have 95% of your workload running on containers, and maybe you have some legacy VMs that you also want to manage. Yeah, we see this kind of option as a valid one for KubeVirt, right? While if you are a customer running hundreds, if not thousands of VMs of VMware, and that's all, and this is the target, we today think that OLVM is the proper answer, and there's no other, let's say, Kubernetes integrated solution that can do the same thing in the same way with all of the features that are there, all the capabilities that are there in OLVM. And this is today, right? So At the same time, we do not want to see our customer deep in dive into a so new technology, so great as well as new technology like KubeVirt. We think that in the long term, in the future, in the next future, this one could be also the road to follow, and this is also why KubeVirt is there in OCNE, in Oracle Cloud Native Environment. But today, the proper answer to VMware is really Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, and I think that this is a good thought because I'm seeing that also other solutions coming from other vendors, from other communities are also getting traction, right? From this kind of acquisition by Broadcom. And if those solutions that maybe were so little in the market before, and today just doing standard virtualization are getting traction, are getting market share, it means that standard virtualization is something that customers are still looking for. So this is my thought of today. In the long term, obviously the opportunity to see, let's say, the Kubernetes and virtualization together adoption going to grow is there. Is there and could take traction for sure. But at the same time, we also have to evaluate which one is the requirement coming from the customer, right? If you have a customer with the requirement to just run VMs for their own services, as they have always done, they do not see or do not have any other particular requirement. Maybe in the future, even in the future, they will just need a standard virtualization solution like OLVM and KVM Hypervisor. That said, another thing that always takes me to think is if you look at cloud services, if you look at AWS, if you look at Google Cloud, Azure, Oracle Cloud, over there are options to have access to managed Kubernetes service, right? And those are adopted, right? I'm not saying that those are not good or are not going to be leveraged by customers. That is true. Those are leveraged. But at the same time, if you look at their main service, selling compute, right? Infrastructure as a service, they sell VMs, right? On the cloud, they sell VMs. And it's a managed service. Obviously, it's going to have some advantages compared to run your own hypervisor and create VMs there, but they sell VMs.
Like in this meme. So when you have a cloud, this is a Linux somewhere else, yes, running somewhere else. Daddy explained to the son. And the future. So you believe that if we have a typical VM workloads, there is no sense to go into something totally new. The OLVM is the answer, or the OV project, because it gives you the 95% of the native, let's say, needs that is typical for this kind of the workloads. And I also believe in that if you're not looking for any sophisticated part, just go to the stable, and important part is to keep your costs in a good shape, because this is also, we need to understand that this is also the part of the migration, not only the need of changing the technology. We know that it's much more perceived because of the total cost of ownership, and TCO in OLVM can look totally different. And then like your statement that you said that when you go in, you can go into the freemium version, so community one. But when you have a subscription model, paid model, you have not only the OLVM, but you have more. You said about the automation, you said about the cloud native. So it's also important part that under the one license, you have more technologies that you could apply them in the future.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And yeah, one thing that is obvious within Oracle, but maybe it's not outside. So Oracle Linux, OLVM, Oracle Cloud Native Environment, Oracle Linux Automation Manager, that is the Ansible-based automation platform we propose. All of those solutions can run for free, right? So you are not required to have any kind of subscription or any kind of agreement with Oracle to run those solutions. And you can also receive updates for free. What is part of the subscription is really the support, right? So if you want the support coming from Oracle, you want the opportunity to talk with Oracle in case of issues. We give to our customers the option to leverage the Oracle support by getting the support subscription. But if you are interested to run OLVM today, you can just connect there to yam.oracle.com website, download Oracle Linux, download Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager and KVM and whatever you want for free, and also receive the updates for free. Yeah, and I just wanted to highlight this kind of thing because maybe it's not common, right? There are other vendors saying you need a subscription if you want to run something. This is not the case for Oracle Linux, and as well as the entire ecosystem around Oracle Linux. So you can run it for free, update for free, and the support subscription is optional.
Great. So this is important information because if anybody would like to, start on playing the POC or the trial, they don't need to go to the commercial one. They can start away playing for free, and this is only the matter of the support if they would like to, because it's in the end it will be the customer choice if I would like to run on a production with the support or without. It depends on the muscle strength of the admin. You know how it works. Beauty. So Simon, if we could summarize our discussion today, if you could, let's say, give, for example, 3 to 5 reasons why it's a proper time for Oracle these days, and again, what potential partner or the customer should know before they will considering the migration.
Yeah. So talking about reasons, the first one I think could be related to the KVM hypervisor. I said before, but as a normal thing, but this is quite unique. So Oracle Linux KVM is a quite unique KVM hypervisor. We are not talking about secret code or code that is hidden somewhere. So it's KVM, right? It's Linux upstream kernel, it's libvirt, QEMU, all of those open source projects. But Oracle Linux KVM is quite unique. We run it as a cloud vendor. And if you think to another option to leverage a KVM hypervisor that a company runs as a cloud vendor, there's no other option like this one, right? So if you look at the major cloud vendors, none of them shares the KVM hypervisor that they run or the hypervisor they run. If you look at other Linux distributions, you have access to their KVM hypervisor, but their KVM hypervisor is not leveraged by any cloud vendor. Oracle Linux KVM is covering both, right? And this is quite unique. Means a huge amount of tests, means security, means many things, right? We run it first as a cloud vendor. So Oracle is the first Oracle Linux KVM customer. And this maybe could be the first reason. The second could be related to TCO, as you said. If you do a quick evaluation about the TCO when leveraging Oracle Linux KVM compared to other solutions, in my opinion, you are going to get surprised about the price that you're going to get there. The third one could be related to overt. I think that overt community did and is doing a great job. It's a very, very, very stable and reliable solution. OLVM is built on top of it, right? What we do with overt, we try to contribute as soon as possible. We do our own testing on the same, and if we identify bugs, we try to get them fixed. So we try to add value, right, to overt. But to be honest, overt already has a great value there. Right? So what you are going to get with OLVM is really the option to receive official support, right, of 24 hours per 7 support coming from Oracle and coming from Oracle developers as soon as there's an issue in your own environment. And yeah, last but not least, the partnership that we have there with hardware vendors as well as ISV, like you, Paweł, right? Related to options to get OLVM and OLKVM integrated with backup vendors, with disaster recovery vendors, with integration with other vendor, right? We have an alliance team within Oracle dedicated to partners, dedicated to ISV, dedicated to other vendors, and we constantly work with them. Yeah, so the ecosystem is built, the ecosystem is ready to help you on the possible OLVM adoption for production environments, right? Or for the opportunity to move it from VMware to KVM. And migration, the migration is maybe the pain point of the entire story. Even there are so many options, right? There's one option as part of the product that we supply, as well as many other are available. And those can really facilitate the migration, right? As I said before, it's a journey, right? Could take time, but could also be, let's say, reduced or a very reduced amount of time based on which one is your requirement, based on how much time you have to move away. Let's say.
Great.
Yeah.
So just a reminder. So you mentioned about the store and the backup. So we're doing for since let's say the beginning, the protection for the OLVM. We have a dedicated plugin that can run straight away on the OLVM UI. So from the admin perspective, you can run all of your backups without jumping between the different user interfaces. Plus, we introduce such as functionalities as an instant restoration procedure, option to store the data in a file system, most of the object storages, or even in the other vendors, with the CBT support and many other features. So it's really mature, and we do have worldwide many satisfied customers. We also put these case studies on our website from all over the world, from the Australia, from the US, Africa, and Europe. So if you will consider the LVM or the Overage project, do not hesitate to try and play with this tower in the end. So we do have proved this cooperation, and looking forward that the next years it will goes. We'll have more and more satisfied customers and the partners. Okay, Sima, I believe we got all. So all of the question that I put on my notes just disappeared. So it means we covered the topics that I wanted to discuss today. Appreciate your time, and for all of the audience, if you will have any questions, if you're watching live, just feel free to ask. Or if you're watching YouTube after the live session, just leave the question. We will try to answer it in the ASAP mode. So both of us are also available on LinkedIn or other social media. So if you will have any questions related to the Oracle Linux team, about the virtualization, Kubernetes, and the other stuff, automation that Simon told you, because we under this umbrella we have much more bigger piece of the technology, not only the virtualization, which we covered in most cases today. So Simon, like always, friend, there was a pleasure to catch up with you and exchange the knowledge, and to have a possibility. Hopefully that one of the next time we'll see face to face and have this kind of the discussion with the wider audience. So wish you all the best for you and for the Oracle team related to the project, and see you soon for sure on the partner side.
Yeah. Thank you, Paweł. It has been great to have the opportunity to talk with you on all of those topics. So thank you again. Yeah, for sure, we will continue to meet while talking with our common customers. Right, we have so many, and yeah, so it would be always a pleasure. And thank you again, and thanks for everyone for the time dedicated.
So have a great Friday, weekend, and stay in touch. Cheers. Bye bye.
Have a great one. Bye.